Whether you like it or not, you're going to show up to an environment. The question is, what does that environment look like? And the answer to that is, it's going to be based upon the decisions that you're making right now. If you like fucking eating out and you like spending money on clothes and driving nice shit, cool. Then get used to being a slave to those things.
Real business owner.
Whatever your situation is currently is not your forever situation.
That's really what real business owners is, man. Like, we don't care where you come from, where are you going?
Our goal and our job is to reduce the mistakes that you have to make or the money that you have to lose.
You want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be successful, don't give up.
You learn, adjust, and continue to move forward.
Welcome back to the Real Business Owners Podcast with myself, Trevor Cowley. Hope you guys are doing well. This week's episode is regarding finances. It's regarding money. It's regarding thinking long-term. And I believe that that's something that you're going to have to do if you want to get ahead. I don't know any people that have been short-term thinkers that 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road, they're like, man, I'm really glad I spent all that money that I made. Man, I'm really glad that, I wasn't thinking about where I would land 10 years from now, 20 years from now. One thing that I've done very, very well, more than most, is be a long-term thinker. When you're a long-term thinker, you're going to get made fun of. Because when you could be having things and you choose not to have those things because you're acquiring capital and you're stacking cash, people are going to make fun of you. They're going to call you a scarcity mindset. Saving doesn't really get you rich. That's not how you make money. You got to invest. Sure, but there's an acquisition period. There's a period of time where you must stack cash. For me, I stacked cash for 12 years straight. And right now, I'm sitting in my harvest. Over the last month, I've spent $400,000 acquiring. I still have, even Bitcoin, as Bitcoin was just barely down to 54,000, I acquired more Bitcoin, where I have a couple $100,000 in Bitcoin. I have a rental property. I just invested into a glamping resort, bought out a business partner in a business. I spent $60,000 on a mastermind, borrowed $20,000 to a friend. I've been spending and spending and spending. And why? When everybody's scared, when everybody's nervous, when everybody's watching the market to try to see what's going to happen, everybody's froze. And when everybody else freezes, that is what's called scarcity mindset. That's when you start acquiring. That's when you make bold moves. And don't get me wrong, when the market is great, make as much money as you possibly can. Have your entire business be focused on building and growing cash flow. But then there's going to be a period of time where it's just about acquiring market share. And right now it's about acquiring market share. It's about growing. And what does growing really look like? Growing looks like that you're putting money back into your business and that you're spending. There's a few areas that you guys really need to be focused on. Number one, the first area that you should be spending money on is self-improvement. Okay? Period. If you're not improving yourself, you're capping yourself in what your full potential is. If I was going to put it in order right now, invest into self-improvement. Why? Because you're going to want to have the mentality of a killer when you're going into a market where people are going to want to restrict and have a scarcity mindset. They're going to want to preserve and protect capital. And that's going to be your opportunity to really attack and get things like market share. We've came off of a 14 or 15 year run. I believe, and I don't know if it's in 1 year, 2 years, Trump gets elected, it might be another 3 or 4 years. And if that's the case, continue to acquire capital. Continue to put yourself in a situation where when it's time that you're taking chunks of the market share and you're doing what would normally take 20 years to acquire, you're doing it in 2 or 3 years because you prepared yourself for that. So true growth looks like taking a step backwards. So right now, you just heard me say I've spent roughly 420 grand, if I'm going to be exact, over the last month in acquiring market share, in putting money out there. So am I in a situation right now where I'm totally focused on, man, I want my personal cash flow to be extremely high. I'm in an acquisition phase where I'm not necessarily worried about my personal income. I'm worried about what's going to happen in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years from now. And so individuals that live in a poverty mindset, they're worried about this week and this month. How can I keep the lights on this week? How can I pay the mortgage this month? That's what the poverty mindset does is it collapses time to make you focus on the right now, the short term. The middle class thinks in terms of, months. I would like to have, a 6-month reserve or 6 month in savings just in case. So they're thinking in terms of months. Are these months' bills taken care of? Yeah, there might be a little bit left over. They can take one vacation a year. Maybe they slap it on a credit card and they pay that off throughout the course of the year. But poverty thinks in terms of weeks and maybe a month. Middle class thinks in terms of 3 to 6 months because they want 3 to 6 months of savings. And for them, that's a feeling of security. That's what they believe gives them stability. When for me, I still believe that's a scary place to be. Now, the wealthy think long term. They don't think in terms of 3 to 6 months. They're not playing the same game as the poverty and the middle class. They're playing games in terms of years and decades. So for me personally right now, I'm not playing a game of these investments. I really hope they pay me a ton of money within the next 3 to 6 months. These investments that I'm making, I'm thinking about myself at 50 years old, not 40 years old. Man, that's going to be nice when I have a bunch of cash flowing assets when I'm 50 years old. Let's talk about another thing, managing your finances. You're talking about, hey, it'd be nice to have 3 to 6 months in savings. The majority of people fuck off everything that comes in. We have to stop utilizing money with a juvenile mindset. Eating out whenever we want, spending money on clothes whenever we want, or shoes whenever we want, driving whatever we want, living wherever we want. You must restrict in order to gain. Period. That is the game. And it's not the rules that I made up. I am living proof that if you restrict yourself, in other words, delayed gratification for an extended period of time, you will have your harvest too. The problem is the majority of people can't restrict themselves for 10 years. While the entire time, you don't have to. Why the entire time, you could drive whatever you want. You could live wherever you want. You could take whatever vacations you want. Most people reward themselves the moment that they have the ability to reward themselves. And what they're doing is they're thinking short term. That's not really rewarding yourself. What you're doing is you're shooting you in the foot 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Whether you like it or not, you're going to show up to an environment. The question is, what does that environment look like? And the answer to that is, it's going to be based upon the decisions that you're making right now. If you like fucking eating out and you like spending money on clothes and driving nice shit, cool. Then get used to being a slave to those things. Those things own you. You don't own them. If you're playing for real financial security, then play for real financial security and start acting like it. Put your big boy pants on, quit acting like a child, and quit losing to your impulse. That's exactly what's happening in society today. Impulse control is the biggest problem. Get control of your flesh. Get control of your mind. And once you do those things, you can get control of your money. You could start designing your life. Why do you think self-improvement's so important? If you can't get yourself off the fucking couch and move your body when you don't want to do it, what makes you think you're going to be able to do the thing that you don't want to do in your business when you don't want to do it? That will actually move the needle, that will provide the life that you want. You don't even take your own life seriously, your own health seriously, and you think that you're going to take your finances seriously? Now, don't get me wrong, there's people that have been successful that are overweight. What they're doing is they throw 100% of themselves into their business and throw everything else off to the wayside. So when they start receiving money, that's the only thing that they have. And they're fat, they're lazy, they're depressed. They don't feel good about themselves. Like this is the reality. Take care of you. That's the first investment that you should be making in any environment, whether the environment is a hot market or whether the market's going to restrict. You are it. So invest into it. Invest into yourself. Grow as an individual. Number 2, you should be investing back into your business, whether the market's good or whether it's restricting. You should always be focused on growing in one aspect or another, because if you're not growing, you're dying in one aspect or another. Growth is a form of challenge. You need challenge. You have to be overcoming something. Number 3, you should be investing with any cash flow that you're getting from your business into cash flowing assets that don't take any of your time. So number 1, you should be investing into self-improvement, individual improvement. Number 2, you should be investing back into your business. Once your business is cash flowing enough, you should be taking that cash flow, you should be investing it into acquiring assets that don't take your time. Those are the 3 things that you should be focused on. If your business isn't doing good, I don't care. Still invest into yourself because you're the problem. You're the one that's running your business. Why do you think your business has a problem? If you weren't at the helm, it probably wouldn't have the problems that it has. So humble yourself and get around people that are greater than you. Get around people that hold you to a standard that's higher than the standard that you hold yourself to right now. Then number 2, when you could take money from your business, put it back into it. Get it to the point where it's making so much money that you can invest back into it and you could take money. That's when you're really winning, when your business still has the ability to scale, plus your income personally is growing. And then when you have money stacking in your personal account, continue to stack that, then utilize that and leverage it in a way where you're investing into cash flowing assets that take 0 time. That's the formula to winning. But you can't do that thinking short term. You can't do that thinking in the terms of weeks or months or even a year. Start thinking about 5 to 10 years. Does this match where I want to go? Am I making decisions that the future me will thank me for? The answer is going to be plain and simple. It's going to be either yes or no. I was talking to somebody at the gym today, and he said, oh, so-and-so set for life. They've made so much money over the last couple of years. And I said, bullshit. I talked to him a couple of years ago, and he was making like $750,000. I'm like, the concept of money is so skewed. Look, I've made money. $750,000 a year for a couple of years doesn't mean that you're set for life. Now, that might mean that you are ahead of the majority of people and that you might have some money in the bank, but what you do with that money will determine whether or not you're set for life. Are you leveraging it in a way that will produce, again, cash flowing assets, or are you going to just live on that money? I mean, I know people that have made millions of dollars that don't have anything to show for it. Now, on the outside, it looks pretty good. They might have a beautiful house, they might have beautiful cars, they might have beautiful vacations, and they might have a beautiful social media to make you believe that they have it all figured out. But I personally know people that have made millions of dollars that's broke as fuck in the grand scheme of things. Okay? And so you have to zoom out enough to realize, okay, $1 million to that's not all the money in the world. It's not going to have somebody survive for 30 or 40 years. It's just not, especially with inflation and all the other bullshit that's happening in the United States or in the world in general. The items that we'll be purchasing 20 or 30 years from now are going to be another 2 to 3 times the price than what we're currently paying for them. So what does that tell me? Okay, if inflation's a real thing and it's continued ever since the 70s or 80s, it probably will continue. So if I take the money that I'm making now and invest it into cash flowing assets, in 20 years from now, that asset is going to be worth 2 to 3 times. So that's my hedge against inflation. So if I invested $1 million into a piece of property, if inflation doubles or it triples and that same home is now worth $3 million 20 years from now, I put in $1 million, I get my 3 out. I preserved my capital and I had a cash flowing asset the entire time. That's how the rich or the wealthy are doing it. And they're not trying to jump to these things prematurely. Now, do I think that you should move with urgency and speed? Absolutely. Do I think that you should take risks? Absolutely. Do I think that you should also be taking a period of time and stacking cash and being strategic? Absolutely. But right now, when people are thinking short term, wondering and waiting and freezing, that's when you should be making bold moves and betting on yourself and betting on your business. There's always winners and there's always going to be losers. And it doesn't matter if you make a bold move and you lose. In that move, guess what? If you're a winner, you'll still pop out the other side and you'll still win long term, because we're talking about long-term thinking here. Can you take your licks short term? Sure. Everybody does. I've had investments that just didn't go well. But once you surround yourself with people that think different, you start thinking different. When you start thinking different, you start acting different. And you go into your business thinking and acting different, you start getting different results in your business. And this is a slow progress. It might take you a year or two to change who you are to your core, for you to take this individual that you now are into your business in order to make the changes that you need to see. Then that takes a couple years to harvest what you did when you planted those seeds with the new individual that you are. And then you take that harvest, you stack that harvest, and you wait for your opportunities, where you go out there and create your opportunities. For me personally, I like the patience game. I believe that opportunities finds capital, it finds cash. So if you stack your cash and you surround yourself with the right people, you're going to find the right opportunities, and that money will get put to work and do what it needs to do for you. So remove your juvenile tendencies, remove the kiddish spending, execute with discipline, get a little bit of impulse control. Stop letting your mind and your flesh steer you into these comforts that are just temporary, that are going to cost you a better life 10 years down the road. Wake the fuck up. You are acting normal and you are acting average if whatever comes in also goes out. Stack cash, stack cash, stack cash. I want to say that a million times over, and I want to hypnotize you to stacking cash. But if you don't have cash coming in from your business, fucking stack the hours into your business then. Stack the hours. Do things that you've never done before. Work harder than you've ever worked before. It's all temporary. When we just got barely done with the 50 miles, the whole time I was saying, guys, it's just one night. All we're doing is running, it's just one night. So what I was trying to do is zoom out and let them know, like, I know that you're experiencing a lot of pain right now, but it's just one night. It'll be over soon. So what I'm saying is put those hours in. Do things that you haven't done before, because it's just 3 to 5 years. In the grand scheme of things, it's a blip of time, but you eventually get to sit in the fruits of your labor for the rest of time. I'm telling you from experience right now, I've restricted myself, I've delayed gratification, I've thought long-term, and I'm now sitting in the harvest. Again, the whole time I thought I was maybe going crazy, asking, am I doing this right? Am I not experiencing life like everybody says I should be? Like, what's the point of making all this money if you're not enjoying it? I have fucking peace and security while I'm watching all those same people scramble. They're stressed. They're scared, and they're nervous about their financial situation, but they did get that vacation in. They got a cool fucking picture. They got some great memories and great experiences, and don't get me wrong. So I've been around too. I've gone to New York and San Francisco and Mexico and Costa Rica and Hawaii, and I have my experiences too. But outside of that, I was driving cars that were paid off, living in houses that were very, very low house payments, restricting what I ate, where I went, what I wore, all of it, where I have all the money that I need to make big advances over the next 3 to 5 years. Like I said, advances that would normally maybe take 10, 20 years to do, I'm going to be able to do that within the next 3 to 5 years because of the way that I lived, because of the way that I restricted myself, because I was thinking long-term. Manage your money, and it starts with managing your mind. It starts with managing yourself. It starts with surrounding yourself with other people that think different than you so that you could acclimate to that type of thinking, to that type of environment, to those type of habits, so that you have an opportunity to change your and your family's life forever. Guys, if you're ready to change and you're ready to level up personally and professionally, go to joinrbo.com. Let's schedule an appointment, and I guarantee you will exit that call better off than you were as an individual entering that call. The whole purpose of that call is to serve first and add value. And if we serve you and we add value in the right way, connect you with the right person, give you the right advice on a free phone call, my guess is you're going to be like, these are the right people. These are the people I need to surround myself with. And if you're invited to join the inner circle after that call, it's all phone interview. We do not just allow people to sign up and hop in. because there's an environment that's being curated that's of growth with the right individuals. And I want to make sure that we don't paint that environment with the wrong people. So joinrbo.com. Other than that, guys, please leave a review. Please leave reviews. Super, super helpful. Keep kicking ass. I love and appreciate you all. This was not me trying to put myself on a pedestal, but me trying to pass wisdom to you. I don't have it all figured out, but I've done some things very, very well. The whole point of the podcast is to enhance your life by utilizing any experience that I have that has, given me more opportunity and enhanced my life, and share that with you. So keep kicking ass, y'all.